This is Sara Polon, editor of Fast Casual, and you are listening to Navigating COVID-19.
Welcome back to Navigating COVID-19, a podcast on how restaurants are responding to their own coronavirus. Today we're going to take a look at how coronavirus checks are boosting restaurant sales, how Potboy returned its funding, and we'll also talk a bit about the second round of funding for PPP and how it's already run into some snags due to some technical issues. Before we get into the news today, we have a special interview featuring Fast Casual editor Sara Polon and Sara Polon, the co-founder of Washington, D.C.-based Soupergirl. Her Soupergirl is a fast casual and soup retail company founded in 2008 by Sara and her mom, and they both happened to be she happened to be a competitor on Shark Tank as well. This fast casual isn't letting COVID-19 deter it from its mission of changing the world, one bowl of soup at a time. But before we get into all of that, enjoy a quick message from our sponsor. Now more than ever, restaurants demand secure, reliable, and cost-effective IT networks to keep business flowing. While you focus on the health of your patrons and staff during this crisis, NetSurian is here to support you with a managed network service purpose-built for restaurants. Learn more at netsurian.com/restaurants.
Well, hi, Sara. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So I want to talk to you, of course, about how Soupergirl is staying afloat during COVID, but let's start out with just maybe a brief overview of what you guys are all about, because I know some of our listeners aren't too familiar. I do know that you and your mom opened this business together, so I think that's kind of interesting. So maybe you can start there and tell me what it's like to work with your mom every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. The story of Soupergirl, I had a consistent answer to that question until about 6-8 weeks ago, and defining who we are. But I'll give you what it was, and I guess what we are now. But I did indeed start this business with my mom back in 2008, and we were on a mission to change the world one bowl of soup at a time. And you could say that we're doing that even more so now. I got really interested in the impact of our food choices on not only ourselves, but also the environment, our community, water, the animals, everything. And so I wanted to open up a food business, and I didn't know what to do. I was brainstorming a number of ideas, and a friend of mine pointed out that my mom made amazing soup. She was just really, really good at it. And so one thing led to another. I dragged her out of retirement, and we launched Soupergirl in the fall of 2008. And originally it was just, we were kind of ahead of the time. We were sourcing locally before that was really a buzzword. And we had a website, and people were ordering online, and we were delivering to people's homes and offices before there was any concept of DoorDash or apps or smartphones or anything like that. So
wow.
Yeah, so we hit the ground running. We got some press because it's a nice story. I'm a former stand-up comic. She's a retired volunteer coordinator, speech pathologist. She did a number of different things, and together we just kind of dove in, and it really took off in the beginning. We started delivering to more and more people, and then we added sales at farmers markets, and then we opened up first one and then a second fast casual soup shops, if you will, in DC, 2 of them, one in DuPont Circle and one in our flagship location in Tacoma. And then we added supermarkets. So we started selling to Whole Foods and Costco, and then Wegmans and Peapod. And then we launched a direct-to-consumer nationwide shipping program. So we just kept growing and growing. And then COVID-19 hit.
Right.
and wow, did that change things? So, someone on my team pointed out that if we have to find a silver lining in this experience, it's that it's forced us to focus and really define who we are as a company. So the first thing we had to do was immediately shut down one of our locations because it was in the heart of the business district. And unfortunately, the landlord was not really cooperative, and so our lease was up. So we decided to just shut that one down because we just didn't know the future. And then the second one, well, that original model that we talked about in 2008, well, we were still we were still keeping it alive. We were still delivering to 40 or 50 people a week. These hardcore people that still ordered on our website, and we delivered to their homes and offices. And that suddenly became a huge focus of our business. So we shut down the location, and it's just become a hub of delivery. So instead of delivering to 40 or 50 people a week, we're delivering to about 100 people a day, every day, and growing.
Wow. So are you just using that location then for, you're creating the food there, packaging it all, and then shipping it out, delivering it to everybody?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, exactly. And then we're going to try to expand that. Now we're offering things like toilet paper, because people requested it. And then we finally found a good source of masks. So we're going to start adding those. We're not going to add things like alcohol or anything like that. I'm not prepared to do that, but trying to solve, I guess, just to help people out while they're stuck at home, and then we'll see what happens. And then our nationwide direct-to-consumer program has also taken off. So that's really gone quite well, which is good because we, in addition to selling to supermarkets and to our own customers, we also had really wonderful relationships with a number of fast casual concepts in DC. We would do soups for them and other items, and that whole business disappeared overnight. Like, we did deliveries on a Friday, and by Monday that business was gone. And so that we really had to move very, very quickly to make up for that lost revenue. And so the delivery has definitely helped. And we're still here. We're fighting a good fight. And I think we're settling into this. I don't want to call it the new normal, because I do hope that things go back to something at some point when it's safe. And I don't know what that normal will be, but we're adjusting. It was really hard in the beginning, and very scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. Definitely how scary it is when you don't know, where your next customer is coming from. So when you were, when you're saying you're in grocery stores, is that business still thriving where you're not having to cut that back, or are you seeing some cuts in that as well?
It's so interesting. So right when it started, our phone was ringing off the hook. People were like, please deliver everything you can, just deliver anything you can, we'll take it. And I think that then people filled up their freezers and refrigerators. And so then that business plummeted, and then now it started climbing again. But what's been very hard is that we, until the end of February, we had a very consistent, we knew what to expect. We knew if a heat wave hit, what to expect. We knew, and we do have a really nice summer selection. We do a chilled gazpacho in bottles that's extraordinarily popular. And so we know what to expect when there's storms and snowstorms, but this, having 2 weeks of literally people being like, get me everything you can. And then 2 weeks of like just tiny orders. How do you set up a production schedule for that and keep your guys safe? Keep people socially distancing in a kitchen. It's very challenging.
So how did you do it?
Well, we've staggered. So we have two facilities. One is our wholesale production facility. And in that facility, our sous chef and our main chef are never there at the same time. So if, God forbid, something happens to one of them, we can still cook it. We can still keep cooking.
It's like the president and the vice president. You never
exactly. That is exactly right. And in Tacoma, where we're doing our direct to consumer, we just are trying to have a smaller staff and keep people, have big production days, and then have people, smaller production days, and try to stagger people. But, we have everybody with masks and gloves, and they change every time they come in. But, and we every high touch surface is sanitized constantly. And we're trusting that our team stays, they listen to, they're not going out, they're socially distancing when they're not with us, but, no one is truly safe. And because no one really knows.
Right.
When I say terrifying, not knowing how your business is what your business is, but also terrifying not knowing, did that produce delivery guy, is he behaving? Is he, you just don't know. And so it's a very surreal time.
Right. So were you guys, did you get to apply for any of the, the PPP loans or any of that? Were you able to get approved for that at all, or?
Yes, thank goodness we did. We were approved, and those loans have been extraordinarily helpful, and we're using them for the exact purposes for which they were created, in that we're able to, pay our team and bridge that cash flow gap. We're able to pay our vendors, and some of our vendors are really desperate for payment, and so we're able to pay them, and so they can keep servicing us. We can keep paying our team until we settle into this new norm. And so,
right. It sounds like this is an example of how that was designed to work for you guys, where, we've seen with like some of the bigger businesses getting that money and having to give it back. What do you think about that?
I understand why they applied. I mean, some of those businesses that did give it back, they have huge investments. So it's not right to keep that money when smaller folks are suffering so terribly. But when you have huge fast casual chains down, 70 to 80%, no one is set up for that. You take on investment to grow your business. You don't take on investment to just keep it from going under. So,
right.
I do think that people with 500 employees or less, truly small businesses, should of course get it first. Of course.
First.
Yeah, that's the key, because some of these delays, April 1st hit, April 15th hit. And if these guys didn't have that money, and a lot of them didn't, it's a matter of days. It's a matter, and so.
Right.
I can't comment on whether or not those bigger companies should have gotten it, but certainly the smaller guys should have gotten them first. And some of these guys don't have accounting departments set up ready to submit these applications the minute they open the portals, versus huge companies.
Right. Not to mention the people that teach them how to do it. I mean, it's complicated.
So it's complicated. That is a great word.
All right, well, let's switch gears, because I want to chat with you about Shark Tank. I know you were on that show last year, and I love watching that show.
Mm-hmm.
And so how was that for you? What was it like?
It was great. I mean, it was very nerve-wracking, extraordinarily stressful, very true to, I think people ask if that's really what it's like. And it is. It's highly edited in that, like, I feel like we could have been in that the tank for 3 hours or 4. I have no idea how long we were in there. And they edited it down to 15 minutes or 17 minutes. And so they one thing that was frustrating was the sharks really loved the soup, and they went on and on and on about how much they loved the soup. So they edited that down a bit, which was frustrating, but we got to talk about our values and our passion on a nationwide platform. And that opportunity it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I will always be grateful for it. And there really is Soupergirl before Shark Tank and Soupergirl after, and that we got this, we were able to launch our nationwide shipping program and introduce ourselves to the country. And that was incredible. And while we didn't get a deal on the show, we've been in constant contact with the guest shark, Matt Higgins, who right away contacted us, and he said, I didn't like the way that went down, and I want to help you guys.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And even, I think it was 2 weeks ago, posted this amazing note on LinkedIn that it's been viewed hundreds of thousands of times, just saying this is a company that keeps fighting and will keep going because they're doing the right thing. And that was incredible. And every time the reruns air, even on CNBC, we get a big bump. So we're very grateful for Shark Tank.
That's amazing. Keep those reruns going.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it was, how I said I dragged my mother out of retirement. What she did she was unbelievable. No one should ask of their mother what I asked of mine. But we're very lucky in that we're best friends. We're very close. And as long as I understand that she's the boss, we're good.
That sounds like a true mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah. It's been very hard right now because they have been thankfully behaving and socially distancing. And basically my folks have been staying at home, and I've been delivering food to the house and leaving it outside and just, hanging out from 15 feet away.
Yeah, watching them through the screen door.
Yep, we literally had dinner there, and I sat outside, and they opened up the window. It was very surreal, but we are big picture very fortunate, and can't complain.
Perfect. Well, speaking of your mom, I know you are a female-owned and founded business. I mean, that's not very common right now. So how has that been?
I love it. I think that people appreciate that, especially right now. And you're seeing, I'm in a network of a lot of female-owned businesses, and I got to say, some of the ones that are fighting strong here in DC and figuring out how to pivot and network with each other, a lot of them are women-owned businesses. And so it's this club that I'm a part of, I don't know what else to call it, that's full of fierce, strong women that are fighting every day and figuring this out.
Well, it's about time we've had a girls club. There's always been a boys club, so we're due.
Yeah, exactly. It's really been astonishing. Some of my girlfriends in the industry, I hate that word. I'm sorry, my women, or the fellow women business owners, it's just watching them pivot and figure this out and just fight to stay on top of it. It's been inspirational and awesome. All right. What is next for you guys? Well, we're definitely focusing on this direct-to-consumer piece, I'll tell you that much. Really focusing on the website to make that experience so much easier, and fewer clicks to purchase, and making it just easier to use. So that's number one. And then number two, working with our retailers to figure out how to make it easier to purchase our products at Whole Foods or Costco, whether it's updated images or, maybe it's marketing on the digital side. So really trying to stay in front of the digital eyeballs and because that's where people are shopping now. So we just quickly pivoted to just digital. We had this plan to do a huge demo program this summer and just hit all of our partner customers with lots and lots and lots of demos, and that program is gone, and I have no idea when it'll come back. So we've quickly had to pivot to all digital, and that's just what we're working on night and day, and then just keep delivering and keep responding to customer needs and seeing what they want. Right now it's toilet paper and also fresh produce. We're working with local farmers, so we're delivering fresh produce, and of course our seasonal soups. We've always focused on sourcing responsibly, working with local farmers, fighting food waste, and really doubling down on those efforts. And so just keep sticking to our vision, and we just have to stay focused. Right. Just keep swimming. Yep, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Sara. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with us, and we will check in with you, I'm sure, in the not too distant future. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me and for all your thoughtful questions. It was an honor to be on. Thank you.
Now more than ever, restaurants demand secure, reliable, and cost-effective IT networks to keep business flowing. While you focus on the health of your patrons and staff during this crisis, NetSurian is here to support you with a managed network service purpose-built for restaurants. Learn more at netSurian.com/restaurants. And now we are back to the podcast. Thank you, Sara, for that amazing interview. Our first story today is about coronavirus relief checks. Likely buoyed by the coronavirus relief payments received from the government, consumers increased their restaurant transactions in the weeks ending April 19 relative to week ending April 12th, easing the previous week's declines, according to the NPD group. Although the industry is still at historic lows compared to a year ago, restaurant customer transactions declined by 36% compared to a 43% decline the prior week, according to NPD's CREST performance alerts, which provides a rapid weekly view of chain-specific transactions and share trends for 70 quick-service, fast-casual, mid-scale, and casual dining chains. Transactions at quick-serve restaurants, which are still the most resilient segment of the industry, declined 34% in the week ending April 19, compared to a year ago, according to the press release. Even the significantly challenged full restaurant service segment received a little relief, declined 72% in the week versus 79% decline the prior week. The rate of decline for casual dining full service change improved 12 points, from a decline of 77% in the week ending April 12 to 65% the week ending April 19. Whether relief monies received can sustain an upward trajectory in restaurant transactions remains to be seen. David Portolin, NPD Food Industry Advisor and author of Eating Patterns in America, said in the release. There are also significant concerns for consumers' overall financial health, with more than 26 million now unemployed. Now let's take a look. Popeye Corporation is returning the $10 million it received from the Payroll Protection Program. The company put out a statement Saturday saying that although its sales dropped dramatically when COVID-19 hit, forcing it to furlough employees, close shops, and cut salaries at all levels of the organization, the 450-unit chain is returning the money after learning that funding had run out before many small businesses had a chance to apply. Here's surprise and disappointment when the fund was quickly exhausted, leaving many without help, the statement said. We are returning the PPP loan after further clarification from the Treasury Department. We continue to seek alternatives to help support our employees and enable them so they can serve our loyal customers. Since opening its first shop in Chicago in 1977, Popeye has more than 400 company-owned shops in the United States. Franchisees operate over 40 shops in the United States. Shake Shack also announced on April 19th that it was returning its PPP funding, and Ruth Chris Steakhouse followed. Our next story we'll be looking at today is how, even though the federal loan program has been restarted, it has already hit some snags. Computer glitches and slowdowns, the Small Business Administration frustrated small businesses again, as lenders trying to submit loan applications through E-Tran, the SBA computer system that processes and approves loans, were unsuccessful, according to an article from Associated Press. Despite having applications ready for submission on Monday, April 27, lenders were notified on Sunday evening, April 26, that the agency was limiting the number of applications the lenders could submit at one time. Several banks, unaware of the last-minute change, had previously sent batches of applications to the agency for approval. The SBA's E-Tran system only processes approximately 60,000 loan applications a year and isn't built to handle the virtual flood of PPP applications it is receiving now. Within the first hour of receiving the new round of applicants, the system had slowed considerably and couldn't receive even the reduced amount of applications. Lenders and applicants are now concerned that if the funds get depleted a second time, small businesses in desperate need of the funding will get shut out a second time. Spokesperson for the SBA blamed the processing acceptance snag on a new mechanism that was developed for E-Tran to keep lenders to a pacing limit. We will be here as normal next week for another edition of Navigating COVID-19. Please stay safe and thank you for tuning in.